Welcome. I am Brenda Jean Power. I am Dr. Brenda Jean Power. What does that mean? It's about metaphysics. I spent a long time learning how to help heal myself. And I've had changed my world. And then other people come along and go, well, how can you be so happy? How can any of this be true? And so then I spent my time of figuring out how to communicate to give you that information so that you can take and heal yourself, you can do something for yourself. So I do read energy. I do help you to transform your world by using tools that can help. And my shirt is kind of a problem all of a sudden. I'll be using the board today so that we can talk about it. If at any point that you get a reading from me, hi Ernie, or you want to rewatch this, you just go over to Medicine Woman Soultion, that's Soultion on YouTube. Subscribe. I would like to get followers up. Right now, I'd like to get at least 1,000 followers. So thank you for getting it up to 500. We're ready to go to the next level. This is where you decide that you don't want to live the life that other people are creating for you. This is about you learning that you can take responsibility and do what you can. So we're going to talk about helping you see what you can't see. So like I said, I'm preparing to shift the camera in just 1 second. All righty. What you can't see, you just go over to Medicine Woman Soultion. Okay. Some of you, let's see if we can get to see, have you ever heard of 3D, 4D, 5D? You ever confused by those? What part does it have to do with your world? And what can you do to change it? There's a lot you can do. So we understand that we're human. So let's just make ourselves this human part of us. Yes, I'm not an artist. You will soon see. And the first 7 years of our life, the time that we're inside the womb, we start getting programs and different things like this. Let's give them a little nose this way so we know. And we get all these little tiny programs. These are what we pick up from our environment. These are beliefs. These are cultural traditions. This is society. Okay. And what happens is that these are our programs. Okay. It's like when you get a brand new computer, you got to put the programs in to make it run. But as you go from 7 to 13, you practice. And 13 through basically 16, you start downloading a lot of hormones. And this helps you kind of break away to learn independence. But if you don't have any tools to process life's hells, life's dramas, that's where it can get more and more confusing. And this is what I do. I come in to help you go back to these programs as you are now, and to measure out how you know these emotions, how you know all of this, but using the body to break down the chemical peptides that are connected. So as you get older, you'll get to a certain stage where, especially at Saturn's return, when you hit your 30s, and mine happened, I was 19 when it all started to really shift for me because I was supposed to wake up early. And at 30, is when I really stepped into gear to shift what I was into who I am now. And it really rocked the boat of other people. Why'd you change? Why'd you do that? They messed up their world when I chose me, when I chose love, when I chose peace, when I chose harmony. And when I would heal out with my tools, the pain, the emotions, the drama, it calmed down the words. And I didn't have to keep falling for the gaslighting or how people told me that my reality was supposed to be. So what happens here is that you have all these things, right? They're in there. People say, well, you can't go back, you can't change, you can't. Yes, you can. This here is what's called like a mirror. So the only way that you can see these programs is when you project it out so you can see it. Okay. So then what happens is your inner world that's created with emotions and thoughts and experiences and other people. So basically and then it was the pimp and the hoe. You are the hoe, by the way. And what happens is that you're programmed. This is who you're supposed to be. And you're like, but I don't want to be programmed that way. I don't want to be. You can feel this fight, because what do you have in this day and age is what something is called a soul's urge. And your soul is saying, can you feel me? Now, what's important about this is that it's the yin energy. Yin and yang is energy that is always, and electromagnetic is always. And we created a physical form that's mainly called yang. And then when you fill it with spirit, it's called yin. So when these two are not communicating, the physical and your spirit part, then you have great conflict. So your 3D world goes out and you got to see what you've been programmed. So now you got to see this 3D world. And let's say everything's great until all of a sudden, oh, God, I can't do this. Oh, I hate my life. Oh my God, I got PTSD. Oh my God, I've got all these things, because we got no programs, no way to help to change those other programs. And it's confusing. But we want you to create a shift. We're going to help you use the physical body to transform. So if you don't like what you see here, then you have to change in here. So then you're like, okay, I resist it. I don't want it. I overcome it. I bury it. But that only caused more of the things you didn't want to become deeper and deeper into you. And it just felt like a cycle that you just can't break. Now, the 4D world, the 4D is the transition. And this transitional state means that you have more love, more hope, more joy. And you start to open up this part of your heart, not to the people that hurt you, but you start having a more of a heart brain. So your brain here becomes more heart brain. And you start to realize, I don't want to feel these. I don't want to do this. And you start healing out these pains and these sufferings, and they become less and less, and you can measure them. So as you are starting to change the 3D, it's because you are going in, and let's say you're using EFT or Success Hope Therapy or Source Point or many other healing tools, clearing statements, treasure chesting, however you choose to do it. And what happens is that this will become less and less. All of a sudden, you'll start to shift your perception, and the beliefs are still there, but they're not as strong. And what's happening is that you're healing in circles, but what you're doing is you're healing from this is what it is, and what you're doing is you're changing perspectives. Super important that you change these perspectives. In the meantime, your ego is living in the frontal lobe. Now, to get to 5D, you have to go through and do this transformation so that you can get all of the needs met. In 3D, we have a Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And if you cannot get these basic needs met, then you can't go up to get self-actualization. But if you start healing out the traumas and dramas, and you start to all of a sudden get self-esteem and confidence, these needs are getting met. You can then start to pull in your heart brain to start creating with those emotions, instead of going, I feel like crap, and then you keep creating more of it. Even though I feel like crap, I deeply, deeply, completely love myself. And you change how you know it from a 10 down to a 0. All of a sudden you can feel with love. And you start putting boundaries up, and you're like, I don't accept that anymore. I don't want to go that way anymore. Okay. So, well, then you start having your reality here in the 4D. You still have a long ways to go, but you're getting the lessons, and the wisdom you're getting more of it. And when you start to walk the talk, but your needs are already met, you can start living in 5D world. And it's important. We'll talk about that in a minute. And I'd love for you to be here. This is where you don't have to put up with the life as it is here. But this is what's important about what I help people do. Because when people say, well, I'm not doing that, I changed, look at me. And then they go back and they're doing it again. But if you keep changing, okay, that means you're changing, not for them. You're changing the emotions. You're changing your way your heart and your brain are communicating. You're changing. And the more love you put in that space, the more you say, no, I'm done. And you take your power back where nobody can control you. All of a sudden, you get to create a whole new world. Now, this is what's important. When you're transforming and you're changing all of this, right now, our ego gets stuck at repeating. Hopefully you've got that. It gets stuck at repeating. What is it repeating? Okay, it's repeating. So as the mirror is in your inner world, creates your outer world. You are projecting out from you. And this is what's called the kaleidoscope of life. So the fan's on, it's drying up my marker. And you have all these perspectives. You come in, you maybe only see this one. Somebody else will come in, they see this one. And then you may argue. Or you may start to and respect. And it doesn't mean you have to fall for it. Or you may go, oh, I'm open-mindedness enough. I want that. So then you can start healing out any emotions, any belief systems, and you change that number from a 10, which can be very much hellish. I got to do it that way. I've got all these self-imposed limitations. I've got to do it. You begin to heal this, you can start to change to where you don't have to believe in it. Now you got extra energy so you can go out and say, thank you, Spirit, for helping me create these experiences so I can understand, so I can grow. You want to create an evolution instead of stay stuck. Eventually, you are going to go and be, instead of 3D, and you go from 4D, and what you're doing is you're transforming. What's going to happen is that when you look in your inner world, looks out, the difference is that ego in the 3D controls that frontal lobe that creates reality. And now your spirit is creating your reality. Your inner world, you've got different programs. You're operating more from the heart. And when that happens, you start to see the whole picture. Here, it sees one. It sees one. Okay? It sees just one. Here, you start to get it. So you see more. You see more holy. You don't feel less than. You don't feel, you're like, oh, you're getting it. That changes the heart. So when you wake up in the morning, you can choose happiness instead of, oh my God, my life's hell. And when you ask somebody, how's your day? Well, it's hell, blah, 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 blah. And this goes like, yeah, I have to do this one job and I can't stop focusing on it. But they won't tell you that. So you get 41 thoughts per minute. And let's say this job isn't until Thursday. And here it is Saturday. Okay. So 41 thoughts, you get hyper focused. But you're not doing it with joy. You're doing it with stress. Because you want to do it, but you don't do it because I got self-conscious. I got so many other things I want to do. Oh my God, you're not whole. You're not into what you really want. So by the time Thursday hits, you're so stressed out that, okay, so what happened between Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? Oh, let's see. I had wonderful dinners. But they won't notice that. I had great TV. I did exercising. I got to do what I want. They may not notice any of that. All that joy will be wiped out in a hot second. And it's just misery. I've been misery ever since I knew I had to do this thing on Thursday. They can't be present. They can't. So life then now is just a drama. And if you can take what's holding you hostage, these emotions, these thoughts, these beliefs, and you change the emotions, the energy in motion, and you change it so that's not, oh, wait, I feel better. Then your focus changes. You'll get from these 41 thoughts per minute, which increases because of stress, and it goes into high beta. Okay, it goes into high beta. The problem is that you can't do anything because you're stuck in one perspective. You can't see anything other but this one. Nothing else exists. You can't be mindful. You may be mindful of your health, but you don't see all the other joys. You don't get to see that. You can't. So when you're tapping and using EFT, using other tools to change the emotional chemical peptide, then when you're stressed, it goes higher. You can go up to 60, you can go to 80, because your mind can go racing. But heal, choose, change. When you change the emotional chemical peptide, you'll start to pull yourself out of stress. You'll start to be more calm. And then when you're asked about the issue, that about Thursday, you're like, yeah, so I got all these other things I want to do. You change your hyper focus so that you can focus on what you want, not what you're forced to do because of feelings. You can change the feels. You can change those emotions. You want to have your spirit, your higher self, your lessons, your wisdoms to create your world, because it creates more harmony, more peace, more joy. You don't have to have conflict. You can solve. You can create a wonderful life instead of just being stuck here. Instead of just being stuck here. I can't see any of my boards. Any questions? Hi, how are you? How you doing? Hello. Hello. Wonderful. I'm looking to see if there's anybody else commenting. Okay, so majority of the time you're here. So give me an issue. Give me an issue, something that bothers you, and let's see if I can help you break it down. Okay, we're going to help you break it down. Sometimes seeing visually can really change, give you that insight that you're looking for. Anybody have an issue? Hi, anybody have an issue? How are you? Okay, remember, if you're in the room, thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe into YouTube. That can support. Let's get me to 1,000 people. Opinions, about opinions. I like the way you pull all that. Wonderful, thank you. And so opinions, anxious with others. Oh, okay, wonderful. Okay, anxious with others. Okay. So if I can give you a read, I'm just going to say Nick, right? I can't see very well, but if I can give you a read, then this is going to be a personal type thing, but it can be seen for all, okay? So if you have anxious with others, so let's get this, okay? Now you're like, oh, the body begins to feel very anxious, and the physiology changes. So you may feel a little bit more nervous, more anxious. Then instead of seeing the whole, you're only going to see your fears. Okay. Now, what is this wheel here is that perspective. And these are all these perspectives. This is endless possibilities. Okay, endless possibilities. Oh, can't even spell. Endless possibilities, but the quantum field is giving it to you. But what's happening is that you, oh, I cannot take any more in. I can't. You're only believing based on how your body has stored the experience. So you practice this. So it's like when you get in the car, you're going to drive. You got to first understand what a wheel is, a car is, where the ignition, where's the gas, where's the brakes, where all of this is. And so every day you go out in the car and you're like, okay, what do I do? Seatbelt first, no, radio. Oh no, honey, keys. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's a clutch. Now you're more confused. But the more you practice, the more you practice, the more you do, the more you action you do, the more you think, the more you are, the more all of a sudden it's easy peasy, get in, let's go. So you've memorized it. You do the same thing when it comes to people, social interactions. Whether it's with your family, your mother, your father, society, school, you've memorized. You have memorized what? You memorized it with the feelings. So you have fear, feelings, but it's usually an experience where you're completely happy and all of a sudden it's like, let's say the teacher embarrasses you in front of your peers. Okay, oh my God, that experience you cannot solve. You're not even sure how to cope, handle, deal, or pacify. You know that every time you meet that signature like that teacher, maybe it's part of your mother, or maybe it's how your friends teach you. But again, you're going to see it in all the people, not just the way the experience, but you're going to see it in all the people because it's your story. So the issue happened. It's now becomes you started memorizing as a 10. It's very fearful. And you're like, oh my God. And you 41 thoughts. You got, let's say you have, again, this is per minute. Okay. But you've done it for, let's say 6 months. Anybody want to do the math? You'll find out that 41 thoughts per minute times 6, more than times 6 months. But anyways, that's a lot. And so what you do, you practiced, you thought it, you practiced. But what were you really doing? In your ego, very limited, ego's very limited, sat there, could only think because it's capped. Okay, it's very capped. And so your ego is capped. It means that, let's see, this is all I know. Okay, now this is how you thought that created the problem. The experience is like, I'm going to deal with this. You thought it, you thought it, you thought it, you've memorized it, you put it in your body. Now that you have to do it, the body says, I got this. And you start getting very anxious. And you're like, oh, but I don't want to be anxious. I've grown now. I can do this. But you get very anxious. Okay. The thoughts that got you there, that created your cat, you're trying to use the same to give an answer. And the answer is actually outside of the cap, but you're not going to be able to do it. You will feel first because you memorized it. Your body says you have to feel this. Okay, we got this. We've memorized. She's supposed to be anxious. There's the person. Oh, they're going to ask them to do something. And if you haven't watched Inside Out, I suggest you do 1 and 2. And all of a sudden, your body and your brain, the emotions. So now you start thinking about your emotions. And then your emotions, and you start to feel and to think and to think and to feel, and you create this circle. And you can't. So now you're stuck in the cap. You can't think outside. So you're not resolving. You couldn't solve it. So, and again, when this is happening when you're younger, you do not have the ability because your age. It's not until you get older that you have the cognitive skills. So it's that first moment. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You've memorized it. And now this is why we say apply a tool. Tap it out, heal it out, put the blood back in your brain because it'll shift. The energy shifts in your brain, which helps you to remove the cap. When the energy shifts further, you're able to see more than just one answer in the quantum field. And your heart and your brain start to connect, which means you've moved the ego because you're tapping out of the equation and put it in the front, saying it's a possibility. And now your energy is running through your brain and you're connecting with that higher frequency. So now you can solve. You calm down the feels of the body. You calm down the feels of the brain. You don't have to be stressed. And as you're breathing and focusing, you can start bringing in new answers. The first experience you never solved, so it becomes an unresolved, continued story. And it'll keep coming up, and your soul is saying, can you heal it now? And you're like, I can't be bothered. I got to survive. I self-preservation. I got to survive. Soul says, if you just take 1 second and take that number down from a 10 down to 0, you'll have your answer. We learned that we have to figure out how to cope, handle, deal, manage, pacify, overcome. We have to force it, stuff it. We have to change everybody so that our rules say. That's not how you pacify. When you learn to put your hand on your head, you're bringing the blood back up. When you're tapping and focusing and measuring, you're changing the way that you're focusing. And when you do that, instead of just having these endless loops, you learn how to heal instead of deal. And you will learn how to resolve to evolve. But till then, you're stuck in this feel, and then you got to think. And then you got to feel, and then you got to think. And the body runs your world, your programs, your old programs that don't need to be. So this is why I'll look around. Have you ever seen somebody act like a 2-year-old in their adult body? It's because they're going back to the program to face whatever it is that is unfolded before them. And all they have is their memorized programs. That's all they have. Did this make sense? Yes. Yes. Because you will live, and I love what she said. She goes, that's my reaction as well. Okay, so in this case, what did she hear? The gem pops are, you live by, oops, you live by reactions. These what's called knee jerks. Because again, the program's kicking off saying, oh, yes. The program says, hey, don't worry, you memorized it. So you live by reactions. You live by that pain and suffering. You live by it because you want to survive. The problem is you didn't have a way to resolve to evolve. So when you have these auto responses that interfere with your relationships and you're saying shit you shouldn't have said, you know, and if you're stuck in that hell loop, then it becomes very much depressing. But if you can learn to change your reactions, change it by changing the programs that you memorized, change that from 10 to 0, put the blood back in your forebrain, put the blood back in your gut, then you won't be always in stress mode and the body will start to support you. So the God that created you will be the God that can heal you. Just because you were created and you come here, you're not left alone. Your body and your nerves, every part of you has the answer to be able to shift, to go into a healthier direction. Did that make sense? Yes, and it did make sense. Anybody else? Anybody else? Understand, when I'm asking you to heal, how do you know this? You're tapping into the feel. You're looking at the program of the words, but you're doing it as your soul self. Now, in the moment when you're going crazy, blah, 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 you're inside being the ego, trying to figure it out. You're going to do that anyway. But if you intellectualize it and try to keep the emotion at bay, you're creating a deeper program. We don't want that. We want to disrupt it. We want you to connect with your higher heart. We want you to connect with your higher self. We want you to become your spiritual self. We want you to understand that you're in here controlling this physical form. Okay? You can change how your body holds the memorized patterns. The wisdom is stuck in the emotion, in the memorized patterns. When you change it, you'll know, because all of a sudden, what you thought was true was, oh, I don't feel that way anymore. Instead of attacking, controlling, and forcing, you're inside changing your world, which changes that. So let's look at it as another way. Okay. Is that you have a body, you have memorized your programs, okay, and your beliefs and other people's values you've borrowed, and well, it's true, and you're like, did you really experience it? Well, actually, no, so-and-so experienced. Well, then it's not yours. But inside, until you can get to the heart, your programs is that you're in the cause of a cause. Okay. And you've got to create the effect. So you got to like, oh my God, I got to control things. I'm so much in fear. Now, the problem is the cause that's inside are the programs. You're not going to be able to change the effect per se. You can make things worse. You could go through life the way you are, or you can say, stop. That's a lot of work. I just want to wake up happy. So I'm going to change the cause. I'm going to change the inner dialogue. What's the inner dialogue? Anyone? I can't spell all of a sudden. It's hard for me to do math and spelling sometimes. But what's the inner dialogue? When I wake up in the morning, this is a physical form. My spirit comes in and I'm aware that I'm awake inside this illusion called life. My inner dialogue can go to the programs and going, oh my God, I'm too hot. Oh my God, I didn't sleep well. And that's all you focus on. And then you put that through the whole thing. Ah, interesting. So the inner dialogue. Somebody says ego. Let me tell you what ego is. Spirit has taught me that ego is the, oh my goodness. What does Spirit want me to do? Oh, want me to test people. The people that have followed me, what do I call ego? Have you been paying attention? Either the program or the spirit will change. What do I call the ego? Anybody? Electromagnetic. That's what your body is. That's what the world's made out of. It equals consciousness. And the consciousness can be seen only through the physical form. Consciousness is inside, or is the body, but it is consciousness, and it's electromagnetic. Everything, this whole world's electromagnetic. Now, what's the G stand for? Guiding. So the electromagnetic is guiding, meaning you have a higher self that can be inside, but it's guiding. It's guiding to options in the quantum field. Electromagnetic, omni, okay. Oh, I'm going to spell this one really weird. Apparition, good enough. Apparition. So something that's invisible, it's made. You make the choice. What do you want to see real? What do you want to see real? So it's like this. Your spirit. Okay, right now you don't see me. Okay, you don't see my physical form, but I'm spirit, and I'm the observer, and I have this body has the physical, then it has the mental and the emotional, and it has the spirit body, and it can't be operated unless your spirit comes into form. So as your spirit comes into form and you are in it and you're like, oh, okay. But now you're looking, oh, that's cool. Well, that's nice. Oh my God. And it's the scared, the fear, the hurts, the HERTZs that cause you to believe it so much that you, oh my God, you wear it. You make the things that are invisible more real. And then all of a sudden you forgot that you are putting this mask on, that you are this, you are what? Your ego. When your spirit starts to over-identify with matter, and matter is not even real, but you made it matter, so it is real. And the amount of energy you put into this thing that is nothingness but mattered, you made it matter. You may say it's a 10 instead of a 0 to you. Other people may not see it, but your ego. So when you go in these programs, your inner dialogues are programs. Where's your spirit? Where's your spirit? The more you heal, do an EFT, 6S, whatever tool you choose, you are going to be more spirit. And you're going to start taking these masks of over-identification off, and you change these perspectives and you get the wisdom. Your inner dialogue can be your heart and brain coherence. And what it means is that you're operating from a very higher hertz, which means 500 or above. Okay, those are emotions. And you start to realize, I don't have to create my reality. I don't as that. You start to get 4D, the transformation. You get into 5D with the wisdom. You start shifting. And you realize my inner dialogue, the first thing I say when I get up in the morning and I'm in my pain, my suffering, am I a program or am I my spiritual self? Am I really who I'm supposed to be? If I'm screaming and hollering the first thing in the morning, I can guarantee you I am not my spiritual self. I'm not my higher self. I am a program and I'm stuck in it. Pain is a program. Yes, that means there's a certain amount of life force. All you get is 100%. And if you keep saying out of that 100% when you first wake up, I got to give 50% to this trauma, and I have to give, 45% to this drama, and then I have to give a 85% to work, and then I got to give another 100% to others. What does that mean? You're in spiritual debt. Your body is going to wear out because you're not being able to be light, to operate as light. Ego is the lens. Very good. So ego is just the lens that your spirit, your consciousness begins to say, this is the personality that I am. I'm not Amy's personality. I'm not Pam's personality. I'm not my husband's personality. I'm my personality. And I'm putting on me today. But if all I am is made up of things that other people have created or expected of me, then I'm not really creating from the soul level. Does that make sense? Does anybody else would like? Thank you for the shares. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for the subscribing. Remember, if I have given any information you want to watch again, just do it on YouTube. I'm going to switch on over to the other camera. Okay. There we go. And it's not go. There it is. Hi. So, what have we learned? What have you learned? You're complicated. But what have you learned? You've learned that you don't have to do life alone, nor do you have to always feel like it's hell. There is a way out. But I got stepped on by a horse. It suffered trauma and pain will go away eventually. Yes. The more that we have a physical experience, the more that it leaves a mark, the more it's important to, how do you want to put it? Like Pam says, judgment can be a topic. If you're in your ego and you're not being your true self, you're going to judge the moment with less than love. You're going to say it's their fault. It's this moment. That's what's going on. And it's the programs talking. Okay. When I physically get hurt, I can go, oh my God, what caused this? I don't want this to happen again. Or I can blame, and then I solved it and it's like, oh, I feel better. But no, you're not. Program's still there. The physical body, there's so many metaphysical reasons. Okay. We have to be more involved with this physical form. We can go and follow back. We can look. There's going to be many reasons. But what is the main thing? Why did she have to get stepped on by a horse? In her physical reality, why did she get stepped on by a horse? She has a mark that's going on in her brain that she has had an experience that's so super strong that it left a mark. And I said, about 4 years old. And so it's made up of all these emotions, such as I can't behave a certain way, blaming, I'm stuck in the sluggish memory. I fear of being controlled. I hate this. She's in run mode. Okay. And this unresolved story is going to keep presenting itself quietly, a little bit louder, and really loud until you stop. So what was it her soul wanted her to resolve? And it says the compelled to correct, the compelledness. There's a part. So she's a teacher. And so she has to correct. And so it's how she corrects. It's how she judges that moment about that correction. Can she assess the situation? She stopped with her spirit, paused, used her tools, and it got her out of the situation to come home. Yeah, it's a cause and effect. It is how we communicate. It's how we do things. Oh, thank you. And so what mood are you in? So what brainwave are you in right now? Because this is, oh, great, poor 4-year-old blaming, can't act this way, stuck in a, I hate this. Yeah. This is how can we help her? So she can hear. So can you imagine your 4-year-old doesn't have the cognitive abilities as of the adults to be able to process such certain events? I said, what event was so much, and it was more mental. And it was like how people talk to her, because what I'm hearing is how people like says, well, it's your fault that you did that. And the child's like, what? And there's supposed to be a teaching lesson here, right? So what can we do to help her now? You don't need to really know all the story. You just know this happened, this hurt. So in the moment, the thick of it, the way the body, the way the mind can't get over the pain. And you're starting to drive yourself crazy because the body is saying it hurts. And the brain is saying, hey, we had an experience and I believe that's pain. So therefore, the mind, not the brain, the mind, you haven't decided who you want to be except for the over-identification. The brain is saying, we know what this is. When something happens to this sensory system, this body, it is to hurt. So I'm supposed to trigger you. Interesting. So keep holding and healing. And so I'm looking at this. And she says, how people talk to her, blame, your fault, ugh. Yes. And it's not about you being sensitive. See, she woke up, just like I did, and many of you, that out of the family, you are not meant to follow along with that same level of cultural experience. You were chosen to wake up, to think differently. So when you have generations keep thinking the same way, nothing changes. So the soul says, well, consciousness needs to change. And we are going through a very unique thing, especially in the United States, where the consciousness it can be going backwards or forwards. I don't know. What is it going to learn? So you're talking about generations of old stuff that no longer serve, and the newer people are supposed to come in. Now, here's the thing. First, we had the black sheep, but they didn't understand. So everybody had stages. Now there's people that are tie-dye. That means we have the answers. We do not. We can change it around. We're not going to be stuck in these programs. The black sheep, you just didn't fit in, and they let you know, and you had no tools, and therefore you had to feel like, because we are a community, we have cells, we have 50 trillion cells, we're born to have a community. And where do we fit? How do we fit? Well, you don't fit in that family, so then you try to find another family or create a family, but you're doing it by old programs. Now you have the tie-dyes that are sitting there going, I'm healing these programs. I'm not creating the same way anymore. I'm done with that. I'm going to create something else. And that's where you're moving forward. And so she's woke up inside a family that, I don't have to believe this religion. I don't have to eat this food. I don't have to do these habits. I don't have to, and I have to really see what limitations of love is, or the condition of what love is. And I'm done with it. So if you're holding a point and you start to feel dizzy, there's a part of you that has to understand, if you are doing success and holding a point, you have to breathe it through. But if it's too much for you to handle, you stop. You stop. Go do Wayne Cook. Go do something else. But what it is that you've come up to, I don't know if I can heal it down any further. I don't even recognize my own body anymore because I've shifted so much from my health state that I don't know how to be. It is too much. Stop then. Stop. Go balance your brain. You do Wayne Cook. Because right now you're stopping yourself because you're saying the program's important. So you just stop and you say, okay, thank you, Spirit. What is it I can't see? People think, okay, yeah, you're removing the emotions, it's going to take care of the physical. Well, here's the thing. Your physical body was completely healthy until you moved into a new marker. And that means now everything is dictated by that. And your organs and things like this. We believe in aging. We believe that we have to become less than. We believe that we have to have every disease in the sun. Stress changes your environment, changes your DNA. When I had I'm no longer scoliosis, they said, so I wasn't born with it. It got developed over time. And so that means I can correct it. And when I didn't know I could, I didn't have a belief I could until I was proven wrong. So physically, I had to move. I had to take action. I changed my lifestyle about eating, changing my gut, and so I'm literally learning how to change the physical form to support me to have the life I want. Now that takes time because the physical is very, very much has been distorted so often by the way we think and feel. So first, I would say, if you can get a hold of that inner dialogue, regardless of what's happening to the body, it is like, no, I'm not going to go there. Thank you, Spirit. And then I will go and I will research, and I'll have spirit help me spiritual investigate. What area do I need to do? Is it physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual? And as I start to move forward, I start getting the answers. And so I start applying. And I even went and to a holistic doctor that could measure a machine. And they're like, how did you change the matrix? I said, it's complicated, but it's not complicated. It wasn't one thing. It's all the tools in the toolbox that was necessary to shift me into the reality that my heart says, I'm already whole, I'm already helping. And so I was like, okay. And when I was doing something and nothing shifted, I either do it more, or I have to find more information, or I add something. And boom, you'll start finding the sweet spot that will change you. Okay, but it first starts with that inner dialogue. That relationship you have. If your spirit, you're going to be able to stand back as your third self, your third option, and look at that and go, whoa, that's a program and a half. Well, I'm going to take my charge off that. I'm going to take those emotions off of that. I don't need to live there. So when I'm not sleeping or I'm in pain, I'm going to find the answer. And it isn't going to be, if you all the tools in the toolbox. Yes, if you have to use a drug, fine. But go ahead and begin to heal further. Ayme, she was diabetic, and so she wasn't born with it. It was acquired, but it was always this belief that you're stuck with insulin for the rest of your life. And when she started to educate herself, and when she started to change her lifestyle, all of a sudden she didn't have to be on insulin anymore. But what are you told? Where do you limit yourself? When somebody tells me that I can't heal something, I'm like, why do I have to have your reality? Get out of the way. I'm already changing my life. Okay. And you are meant to be here to change consciousness. I don't have to do the 3Ds. I don't have to hate. I don't have to gaslight. I don't have to do the maneuvers. That's so old that now it's hurting you. So if you go, nope, I'm creating a different world. I'm going to learn how to manifest without doing all of that old stuff where it robs you of your life force. I'm moving in a different direction. So let's see what she says. Sometimes, so her mindset right now says, sometimes it's getting too hard. I say, Spirit, I receive blessings from the situation. Perfect. Your inner dialogue, your higher self says, wait a minute, just throws it out there. It can be enough of a disrupt that it can help you shift gears into your brain. And instead of your brain saying, oh my God, this is always pain. It's like, if you've never felt, okay, so if you know what it feels like to see something, a moment, a child laughing, you fall in love. Falling in love, the nocebo effect is falling in love, and it's a honeymoon effect. And it is life's miserable, life's miserable, life's miserable. You meet this one person, your whole life changes, and now everything's absolutely great. And you have more energy than you ever know because you have created reality so different than what you know. And over time, if you don't heal this, you're going to go back to what you knew. But love can make you healthy, strong. Love can heal. But how can you maintain it? You have to heal those programs. She goes a little further and says, helps me see what I'm supposed to learn instead of the pain. Good. You are home. Just because you're going still through the live experience doesn't mean you haven't achieved. You're choosing to be more of your higher self, and you're more at home going, okay, this physical body, I love you. Thank you, Spirit. Show me what I need to do. This is where you have to be open, the gem pops. This is where you have to see things a little differently. And how you know this is if you're arguing and you're arguing and you're arguing and your head brain and your headspace is in a program, and I say, hey, play with me, and all of a sudden you're tapping and you're holding or rubbing points, and all of a sudden, ooh, I feel better, I feel calmer. And I'll say, what is the problem? And you're like, well, nah, it's not really a problem. I've got the answer. Or I just don't want to do it. Or you know, but before you're limited, you can't do anything. This whole conversation is healing something in me. I'm yawning nonstop. Good, because I'm feeding your soul. Your soul says, I wanted this. So you are listening beyond your programs. Your ego is not stopping it. We're glad I found Dr. B. I didn't even know that we could change our thinking and mood. Yes, and I love Thor because she comes in and this program and she's, well, I don't remember, I don't see it. You don't have to remember, you don't have to see it. I said, if you can just change the way the brain is right now, you and your soul can work together, where all of a sudden you will understand and see it, and you'll start to recall because you're ready now, because you're creating a foundation that says, oh, I can do this. She says, I know that we change our thinking and mood. It's awesome. And you see the people's traumas with no judgment. Yes. Why should I judge? I've gone through some dillies. I don't really care to do them again. I accept them as they are. Yes, because they haven't been accepted. So you are me and I am you. And once I help you understand that you can come in charge and say, wait a minute, I don't have to have this hell on earth. I don't have to have this program control me. The beauty is you just healing yourself, no matter what life thing you're going through. Yes, as you get to where I'm at, you're going to get a lot of people that's going to resist and hate you and pull out programs. And that's okay. You don't have to, these are your tests. You don't have to go backwards. You don't have to feel bad. You respect the fact that that's where they want to be. You were there once. And if they're not ready, that's okay. You don't have to sit there and go, I feel sorry for him. No, you hold them as whole. And if that is as far as they want to go, that's where they want to go. Just like when I was a kid, don't tell me about, okay? We have our own paces. My soul feels it. Thank you, Spirit. Yes, say it. Say it. Thank you, Spirit. You can receive. The more healing I do, the more my memories come back. Yes. See, before we were trying to delete, distort, and generalize and hide and run. And oh my God, self-preservation. How do I got to make this stop? But if you can start hitting the chemical peptides that made you to go that far, and it just stuns them and dissolves, you start to come back home. Your brain starts to tell the body, oh, wait, we can do this differently. Oh, wait, here's another option. And you start to balance that brain to where you can see more than just the one option you were told that's the only thing you can have. I want you to wake up and be the flower that you may be growing out of a concrete, but baby, you're going to grow. What's going to happen is you never know when somebody's going to come along and dig you out, put you in a pot, and give you a new home. How many times do we rescue animals and give them a new home? Oh, you made a resident cry with happy tears today. You just gave love. Oh, I love it. This conversation is making me remember memories too. And you won't, and once you start changing the narrative and that flippant speaking, that flippant thinking, you become more as your spirit self. You're going to be able to recall beautiful memories, and you can start living in gratitude. I so love my husband. I sing him love songs when I wake up or when he wakes up, or I, dance around him goofy, and he does the same thing. And we share this space that we know that we don't have to believe our own BS, belief systems and bullshit. We don't have to. We can change that. We can change that. We don't have to keep doing what our parents done, because that is old consciousness. We're in a new one. What do we want? We want love. Then we have to stop believing in fear. And we don't have to say there's an enemy. We don't have to fall for other people's issues. And if you're like, but the world needs me, then hold it whole. Okay, you're in hell. Here, you can do this. Here's the answers. Reach for it. Reach for it. Reach for it. Start believing that you've got them. Such a wholesome and transformative session today. Excellent. You did it. You chose to show up as your soul and to hear what the keys and the codes you needed. And together we can really grow. And that's what I love to hear. Again, help me get to 1,000 people on YouTube. That would be great. Year Ellen is coming. Yes, absolutely. It took me so long to see that I know that I'm having an emotions less than love. Once I started healing, I might remember. Yes. But when you're in that pain and that suffering, you're, especially the physical body, that means it's like cemented. You've done it so many times, it's cemented. And this is why when I did SP, it's like, oh my God, I'm in pain. And so then all of a sudden, Spirit says, rub certain points. And there's a sequence. And then all of a sudden, whoa, when the first time I had done, my husband had a headache. And he's like, oh, yeah, and I got to go find a pain pill. It's going to take about an hour. And I said, may I? And he said, yes. So I went over there and started rubbing my points. He's like, what are you doing? I said, I don't know. Some type healing tool that Spirit wants me to do. And all of a sudden he's like, what'd you do? I said, what? He says, pain. It's not there. I said, how do you know? And then I learned to measure. And then it's like, I didn't even take the pain pills yet. So you did something. I said, you're made of energy. Let's move this. I'll give you the points. You do it. When you can start believing in yourself, you can create some self-esteem in you, self-confidence. And no matter if something looks impossible, you don't look at it as impossible. You just sit there and you go, thank you, Spirit, basically, and you resolve to evolve. You bring in the answer, even if you can't see it. I touched him, did the points on him. Then I stood back and gave him the points to do on himself. I didn't proxy him. I didn't become him and do it on me so he'd feel it. I want people to not get in. I want people to move from the woo-woo that somebody is in my space and they believe in fear, they believe in evil and believe in that. I don't want you to do that. I want you to know that you can change your world and that you can stop any of those negativities. You learn how to be that cup of peace that changes the world. You can. And he says, I no longer have migraines because of Source Point. And you also learned that the metaphysical meanings was that you were living a life that you didn't really want. Now you're here creating a life you want as it's shifting. And you're like, this is great. She just created herself a cushy job out of thin air. She didn't even know she was looking for a job, but she said to the Spirit, she put out an ask. Oh, nice. Oh, Nita. But she put out an ask. And when you forget that you said to the spirits, thank you, Spirit, for showing me, and all of a sudden it comes to you, you have to become aware that you asked. Otherwise, you're going to push it aside, and then you keep asking, and it's going to keep showing. And eventually, Spirit's going to go, no, you're going to have to wake up, because how many times has it taken to get it? And hopefully it's not a lot. The world has to go through a major bitch slap, but you don't have to. You be able to zig and zag while everything else seems to be difficult around you, but your mindset is showing you different answers. Yeah, we just have to do it with our pups. It gets fast away. Yes. And there's nothing wrong with that. But people are have so much fear, and people throw out fear, and people put down these belief systems and say that's all there is, and it's capped. There's no other way. And it's not true. So it's super duper important that you begin to wake up from those programs, somebody else that's created. If you wake up and turn on the news and all of a sudden it's terror, were you in charge of your world? Probably not. Coming via divine timing. Spirit knows best. Good to see you, babe. Good to see you. But judgment is something that, I don't know if Pam's still here or not, but judgment. When you start to decide that you don't want to live the way other people do it, then you can break it down. I says, so when I asked Spirit, I says, this judgment. The word that came in was discernment. So I went on an adventure. What is discernment? Why is it different than judgment? And it depends on the mindset. It depends on the mindset. And if you are operating with hate, then the judgment's going to be worse. If you are operating with love and you make a judgment call with Spirit, it's different because you're using more discernment. When you move from being such a victim to where you understand more, and those that are in 3D and look at you, oh, you're heartless. No, I'm not. And when they move from that to that, then other people are going to call them that. But you're moving away from this limitation. You're moving away from that. You're learning to hold space. You're learning to be loved. Okay, you're going to take a break. Oops, hold on. I got a puzzle piece I got to put in. And I need to charge my phone. Okay, so time to charge this phone. And I need this one. Okay. There we go. Whew. So I probably should see what we have on the agenda today. I believe Ayme is going to be coming on. And again, you have all these things, ways of communicating. You can come on, or you can join Tribal. So tomorrow's Tribal. We can really hit some things out of the park. If you want to come on, if you just want audio only, it's 25. Chat is in the chat, like we're chatting. I may ask you questions, and that's $15 and $5 for PIFs, or just, like pay it forward. I want to give a gift something. You can pay it forward with any of these, 25, 15, or 5, or even Tribal. However you choose to do it if you want to gift somebody. If you want it for yourself and you're like, oh, but I only have $5 and I have a question, go for it. Okay, it's paypal.me / and my screen is not showing it. There we go. That means that my camera moved. Oh, that's odd. I must have bumped it without knowing it. There we go. Okay. Now, again, I'm going to open up my emails. That's where I get to see what people have done and paid. And it's good to see that everybody that loves Tribal is still coming and joining, and you're getting something out of it. We're helping you create a new foundation, helping you grow. Boy, I haven't opened up this mail since last Monday, so I'm going to have to wait a few minutes here. There we go. So today is February 3rd. It says for my mom and me. So she has 2, and so it's 2 chats. Just want to make sure. I don't want to do any readings until after I know you're present. So let's look to see. Yeah, there we go. Oh, okay. It's 12. Well, I'm not sure. Don't worry about it. I don't know. I can't figure out how to change it on there. But it's 15, but no problems, no problems. So we will look at, so Pam has paid, and she says 1 for her and then mom. Okay, excellent, excellent. Let's see what else we have. There's one before. Oh, Ayme, yep, Amy's coming on. And what is this one? Nope, we're all good there. Okay. I can't figure out how to change that. I have tried. Nothing seems to work. Thank you for the coins. Thank you for all of that. That is wonderful. Okay, so Pam, we're going to jump in. What would you like me to communicate, talk to Spirit about? What would you like? Go in that direction, okay? No problem, no problem. It's all good. It's all good. So I've got TikToks, Facebook, and YouTube all going. All going. That's what's happening. We're going to do, like I said, a read in a moment or two, and we'll go from there. So Pam's going to say Spirit. She's going to say, this is the issue. This is the thing. But you can look at something. You can ask the question. You make it about yourself. You make it about you want to change something in your world that you don't want to look at. She goes, look at my heart, please. Physical heart. If that's the case, physical heart. I'm going to tell you right off the bat that energy is nice and strong. Okay. I'm going to look at the heart because you're asking. So I'm asking Spirit, tell me something. They said mental. Let's go into the mental. So in the mental body, there is this, you're chasing something down. I want something and I don't have it. So are you noticing that? I want something, but I don't have it. So when you're looking and you don't have it, then your heart says, oh, I don't have it. What happens with the heart? All of a sudden it feels vulnerable. It feels a little vulnerable. Can you feel the steps? Can you feel the steps? Yes. So that's the first thing. So we're losing a certain amount of energy with that. And I'm going to tell you, so your soul is saying that you have displayed that what you saw. So did you have ever seen any family members act in that behavior? They wanted it, they don't have it, so therefore they're hurt. Okay. So you're displaying and learning that I don't have to be my history. I can think something other, but right now I believe it because I see it, I'm experiencing it. So you're going to do L1D because it's vulnerable. Feel the vulnerability. You look at how you're looking and you're like, oh, the vulnerable. Okay. So the more that I look at the heart, the more that they're talking is that, oh, that's interesting. So I have you look up words, and the word that they want you to look up happens to be apathy. Let me get this here. Because this energy is sitting in the heart meridian, and apathy is that lack of interest, enthusiasm, concern. So at one point you're saying, no, I don't like being vulnerable either. So let's start getting that out. So you're gung-ho, you're mentally, but when then it goes from the mental, emotional, physical, the program to have it to be enthusiasm. And yes, I have great interest. To be enthused, enthos is to be filled with spirit. And so your heart can't feel that feeling of being in spirit. Mentally, you can, but the physical, the four bodies of you, spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical, haven't embodied that enthos, that enthusiasm, that interest, that filled with spirit, so that you can then start to really take the action that you need. So at this point, apathy sits and affects the way that your heart is sending out the signal to pull in. So you're going to do L1D, do those different, measure them differently. Vulnerability, scale from 0 to 10, apathy, you're going to have to see it on each event. So L1D for that as well. So for instance, you're like, yeah, I'm gung-ho, I'm doing this. And all of a sudden you can feel the lack of interest. You're going to stop and go, spirit goes, hey, right there, right there. Yeah, I did feel that lack of interest. And this is part of where you're going to be hitting an auto response. And the program that you've memorized, and you're like, oh, I see. I'm enthusiastic. Okay. And all of a sudden it was like, oh, I've got to do this next part. And all of a sudden you're like, ugh. So it's not that you were losing interest in whatever you're doing. It's the some of the steps. Oh, and then the brain may go, well, I'm not going to get any clients anyway, or you're going to hear the excuses and reasonings. But just feel the emotion of that. Does that make sense? Okay. What else? Okay, so like for instance, I've got this headband on and I can feel it touch a pressure point right here. And it's like, oh, so something's pressing, something's pressing. And as I'm listening to the heart, and it's like, no matter how many times I try to be confident, somebody's got to come along with their big mouth and start bitching and moaning, and blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden it's like, so what happens is that I don't like to feel vulnerable and I have the apathy, but I don't want to be crushed. This is a very old program for you. This is about almost 4 years old. And it says that I couldn't get the support I needed for whatever reason. And I felt crushed. And so I can't be confident because I kind of need this extra support. So instead of being hurt and crushed over and over, which I hate being vulnerable and I hate this getting my heart crushed, I will just feel I can't be confident. And so then all of a sudden, anytime you start to go do something, you have to feel no confidence. Oh, but then you're like, but I have great confidence. But then the heart says, yeah, it just means you're vulnerable. So you're going to go back to L1D and you're going to think, I'm crushed. All the times that I've ever been crushed, it's wiped out my confidence. Every time I go to do something, I feel no self-esteem. And then you're just going to keep listening. Now you're going to do individual events, things that you maybe have memorized or things that have the anxiety of the future events, things that are happening. And so if let's say, because you said you're taking a trip or something like that, and your heart, so I would say, okay, I hate when people do this, or I hate this type of flight, or I hate this. Even if you didn't use the word hate, if there's anything that comes up with the steps of doing that next adventure, that future thing, grab it, measure it, take the heart and go, because now you're starting to notice that you, as it unfolds, have said, this is a strategy. I have to put this thought in. I got to think this feelings. I got to feed this. I've got to see that. I've got to go through this. Now this is you that has to pay attention to just thoughts. These are what's called flippant auto responses, flippant auto thinking. There may not be an emotion. It could just be plain old words. And these words create a frequency that can put you in a mood that you may not. Again, you don't have to feel the feeling. If you don't understand that feeling, look at it as a strategy. Like I know that I have to get into a hot car with no air conditioning. It's going to be over 105 today. And I could sit and complain about it. But I don't even choose to go there with my flippant thinking or flippant feeling. I know the moment I get in the car, I'm going to roll that window down and I'm going to just like stick my head out the window if I have to, like a dog. But the point is, I don't have to wallow, dread any of it. I'm going to get there. I've got a mission. I don't have to focus on the hell. I'm going to do what I need to do. And when I'm on a mission, I don't lose track of all these steps. Does that make sense? So it's not always about the feel. It can be just the words. And then when because again, mental body. Before we go, I'm going to have you think mental body. And then you are going to take and do the left and then the right. And this is a large intestine point. You're going to use your magnet and then 24 times, and then you're going to push in deeply, 30. But you need to say mental. And what's happening is that you're addressing these mental learned ways. It's not necessarily feelings as much as the mental, which are words, ways. Now you can there's more to it, but just begin to do this because you've got to break it down in the mental body so that the physical body can start releasing it. Okay. Now we're going to do mom. But before we do mom, Vicky, yep, wonderful. I will get that information to you. You said you sent money for tribal and you wanted a 5. So let me put down Vicky. Okay, so then we have that. Wonderful. I'll get all that information after. So look for the invite from Medicine Women's Soultion Tribal Unit or whatever, and then I'll put you in Messenger, and that is a link where I send so you can come in, and we use Zoom, so that's gonna be fun. Okay, hold on. Let me see. It says see more. Okay, with auto response. Okay, thank you. Okay. To know more about the auto responses, there are several videos that are on YouTube. I'm going to have to see if I can find a link for you. And it teaches you a little bit more about what an auto response is. And it's those stages of feeling. And if you can catch those stages of feeling when you're doing a healing, you're going to start to be able to measure in between and throw that out. So then you don't have to do those auto responses because they come quick. Okay. It takes forever and you memorize them and then they're quick. Okay. But when you go to address them, it takes a moment to look at it because you're looking at it through your spiritual self. Okay. All right. Let me look at this real quick. I got this other one. Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. So your right shoulder hurts. Okay, so sometimes it's how much action that we're going to end up doing. Sometimes we don't know how to. There's more metaphysical meetings. Okay, but I'm going to go and do. Is mom present, or is this mom's going to listen later? Is there a particular thing that mom wanted, or what do you know? Let me know. We're going to do mom next. We're going to do mom next. So happy to see that Vicky wants to be in tribal. I'll be so glad when I can send that information to her and, just looking around and waiting for her, Pam, to respond about mom. Give me a second or two because that delay sometimes it's just so. Remember, I'm doing my best to get YouTube up and YouTube it running. And if you don't go to YouTube very often, but if you can just pop over and hit subscribe, give that support that we're looking for. That'd be great. She's here. It's her shoulder. Oh, that's what it was. Even about that. Okay. It's right shoulder. Okay, let's look a little bit more. I feel like you've been working on this. But there's still some aches and pains and other little things. So you have been working on it. How long? How long has it been? Just curious about it. How long has it been? I'm going to pop open this real quick. I'm down a moderator, and so I have to do some of my own labor here, which is fine. It just takes me a few minutes to get cracking here. All right, so as we start to look at it, we're going to be talking about the right shoulder, and the physical body will hold patterns that of what you do in life. It's not just a physical experience. Has she ever had a frozen shoulder? Because that just kind of years. It just kind of like popped in the word frozen. So I'm curious. So is your mom, or daughter, mom, have you hands-on control? Have you ever had hands-on control? So they are, you're going to hear me and it's going to be either yes, no, or all. The right shoulder is hands-on control. They are betraying, anxious, and rescue tripping in a controlling and assertive action pattern. They feel they have to aggressively pursue the solution of the problem they see around them, and they regard themselves to be the buck stops here authority in the situation. They're constant. Why doesn't that feel like her? She has no. Okay. She's never had a frozen shoulder. Okay, but this here, there's some about this. Okay, so think of the words hand-con control. They are constantly concerned about letting those who depend on them down. So is she afraid to let people down? Maybe that's the keyword we're looking for. I'm looking for something else to pop. If they take care of their own needs. Okay, so they are constantly concerned about letting those who depend on them down if they take care of their own needs. If they take care. So if mom took care of her own needs, then you won't be needed. That's my understanding of that statement. There's another emotion that's here. She feels underappreciated. So does she take accountability, like hyper accountability role? They're a hard worker. So I'm going to look a little bit further because I'm looking here and what I'm hearing about letting people down. Okay. Because as I'm feeling this, we're going to go a little bit further. Spirit is telling me that she mentally thinks a lot. And because she mentally thinks a lot, she's trying to figure out how to not let people down. The shoulder is, if I look how many meridians are affecting the shoulder, they said basically it is one, and it's the gallbladder meridian. And it has to do with the subtleties in life. So the gallbladder, if I looked at it particularly, it's like I have to self-regulate. I have to self-regulate. Because if I chose to do what I want to do, which I don't think I've ever learned what I wanted to do, I've always been told by, and I think her mother, of what she was always supposed to do. And she doesn't really want to let her down. But as she starts to, wow, I had to feel this. I had a feeling of this. It's like, hold on. She's a good little girl. She had to take care of everybody, and she's kind of tired. Is she so tired that she just wishes sometimes she doesn't wake up? I'm not saying she wants to die. I'm just saying there are times that her mind is like, oh my God. The physical body sometimes just, I'm done. I'm done taking care of this. I'm done. Does that make sense? Because I'm looking at this, why would the gallbladder be causing this in her shoulder? And it is how she had to repeat being like her mom and dad. She's always done for others. It's such a strong identity. And I says, always having to do for others. Does this affect her? And it says she can't stop displaying like her mom. I have to be. So she's got a character, a personality trait that's just like grandma. That's what I feel like. It's like one of her parents. And one of them is the epi, which is I have to give up on my expectations. I have no choice. I have to give up on my expectations because I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. And I don't know if she ever got to intimately know what is it she really wants. And if she stops to slow down, her identity of I have to do this for other people. I have to do this for other people. I have to do this for other people have now got to the point where it's like, hello, you can't look at yourself because you're going to let them down. Okay. Does this make sense? So as soon as she starts to slow down and you know, yeah, I want to do all this. And as she sees her kids in that do it, she can do it. But if it was what she wanted, she's smiling. Yes, like her mom. And it's what she wanted. She cannot, she has to. Now it's a strong have to. It's like, you're never allowed to find your identity. I said, those are strong words. When did the child learn that? She learned it about 1 year old. There was too much chaos. Mom picked it up. This is where she looked and, oh, that's how you're supposed to do life. That's how I'm supposed to be a mother. That's how life works. And so it was constant. It was constant. And the main constant feeling was this I have this compulsion. I have to. It's a compulsion. I have to. And so it doesn't allow you to be present with you. It pushes you out. She says she knows what she's wanted, but it's never happened. Yeah, it's not going to, because the moment that you sit, this identity that you believe is important, that's like mom, is that it says, sorry, you don't have time for that. You have to give up your expectations because you are told that you have to do that for others. See that major ass statement? Okay. I said, what's the best way for her to start breaking this down? And they said the overwhelm from the outside. So I'm going to do what I want to do. And she's over here doing her thing. And all of a sudden the outside becomes so loud. It's like automatic gaslighting. I got to put my shit down. I got to get up and I got to take care of it. And it's automatic response. And you don't even realize, but you can say, God damn it, I can't have what I want. So the best way to start helping her break out of this is that her relationship, let's say she's just sitting there crocheting. I don't know if she crochets or not, but I can just see her doing something with her hands. And she's doing this, and all of a sudden the outside makes a noise. It's like my first response, or my startled part of my body is that I have to pay attention, put down everything about me and take care of that. Because if not, this is the part, what would happen if you don't? Because there is this fear that is super huge that if you don't do it, and this is again where she borrowed it from her parents, it was like, something bad's going to happen. And I have to do it. You can't, because you don't know what the hell you're doing, type thing. Or the only way that they, and see, now this is where I'm watching it, the pattern repeat itself. And it's an old belief system that you're just going to screw it up, or I have to do it anyway, or I'm going to get yelled at if I don't. So I may as well get up and do it. She crochets and say a lot of things with her hands. But it's built into her that if you don't, what's going to happen to you? What's this? If you don't get up and take care of it, what's going to happen to you? What is so scary? Are you going to be badgered? Are you going to get yelled at? You're going to get scorned? Are you going to get physical, mental, emotional abuse? What are you going to get? You're going to get guilt tripped, shamed? Are you going to? Okay. So the very first thing that they want her to start to address is that she can't stand the sound of criticism. Is that punishment? Is criticism part of the punishment? Because it is like, if my ears could bleed right now from the amount of that, yeah. So they're saying they want her to do left wrist, third position deep. So it's L, 3D, okay? And she's gonna have to sit there, but she's gotta measure how she hears criticism. She's afraid of it. She's afraid of it. And she's not even about afraid of it. She's just like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to hear it anymore. I don't want any of that. I don't want the punishment. No. And so we have to get into where it's an automatic. So once she starts to heal this out, then we have to look at that overwhelm that comes to her and says, you got to do it or else. Okay. Then she can go right wrist, third position deep, R3D. And that is the overwhelm. Now she, again, should be sitting there crocheting. She can almost anticipate the overwhelm. If she pays attention, she's going to go, it's right there. It's going to get hyped up. I can feel it. She could stop and heal. But let's say the event happened and 3 days later, she's sitting there going, oh God, she's still thinking about that overwhelm as she's crocheting. She can stop after the event, hold right wrist, third position deep, and go, oh my God, it was huge, because her brain is thinking about it. Well, she can disrupt this, okay? She got spanked even as a teenager. Yes. Okay. So now we know it's a physical thing. You're going to go right wrist, first position soft, because they crossed, you had a learned helplessness. Learned helplessness. And they're going to take your territory. So that's right wrist, first position soft. Giving up on expectations. I know it's the whole list, but apparently they haven't talked to you in a while, and Julie wants to make sure you know. right wrist or left wrist, first position soft. I have to give up on my expectations. I have to. I have no choice. Okay, so these are very distinct, very distinct. You can re-listen to it. I don't remember everything I said. I know it's L2S for, no, not that one. L3D for criticism. See, they're very distinct. This is why you got to watch that video, because you'll feel how I say the words and the emotion. So you got to go back. But that last one has a lot to do with L1S, which is, oh, good Lord. You had one of those sisters too, huh? Ah, I feel for you there. Okay. But anyways, good to talk to you. I'll talk to you later. All righty. Now let's go over to Vicky. Anything you want me to address, to look at? She's tired all the time. Yeah, because she's so done with the program. She can't even be present. She's doing her best. She's doing her best. For the critical thinking and judgment of others. Yes, that's why you said the word judgment. Yes, because we have to judge ourselves, knowing that you're going to get judged. So then it becomes worse. Yeah, you have to start nipping this in the bud. I would tell your mom, teach your mom to do the basics, especially Celtic Week, kicking other people's shit out. Pick it. Oh, she's crying. Is that good or bad? I give you hugs. I give you hugs. Okay. I haven't seen you in a long time. Well, I'm over here in Australia. I'm not going to see it. I'm going to give you hugs. Okay. What spirit says. Okay. My physical body is immediately my body is responding to the environment. My body is responding to the environment. For this is for Vicky. Immediately, my body wants to say, I can't say what I want to say. I can't talk back. I can't do anything. So my body is trying to do it for me. Tell me if this makes sense. Because what I'm looking at is that I'm supposed to be a certain stature. So I'm hearing I have to remain small. I have to feel small. And as soon as I start to feel small, they get whoever they are, registers and goes, okay, my job's done. Ha. It's like somebody has to put you in your place, even though you've done nothing. Yes, okay. So you kind of know where that's at. So now what I'm hearing is, in order to survive, about how they told you over and over and over that pimping, the gaslighting, you and your body are going, oh my God, I don't want to do this anymore. But you don't know anything other than these realities. So you start building a false reality. And it can be dreaming outside the box in a good way, but all you see is the hell. And you're thinking, yeah, but I was thinking good thoughts. You don't have your power or your voice to be able to make the good things happen. Okay. So what I'm looking at is how there's hidden stories, and you've had to keep warping your life for other people for so long. What would you like her to address or heal? They said you are not deficient by any means. And you're starting to realize the gaslighting, the lies, the corrupt, the manipulation, the maneuvers, that you were just a freaking object. But you're not that scared little girl anymore. Oh, Vicky, this is wonderful. But I can't help that my body reacts like the old way with certain people. Okay, I get that. So they said the first thing they would like you to begin to heal is how you're supposed to not have any confidence when that signature of these people appear. Your body goes, oh my God, and then starts to go into old programs, and you are sitting going, I don't have to do this, but the body says, shut up. And then if the body keeps talking long enough, then you're going to feel and think and feel, and then you're going to show up exactly the way they want. Your soul is saying, I'm done. You ready to heal this? And I'm hearing, yes. So Spirit is saying, if I were to take and notice that the whole point was they didn't want me to confident, because they could be the only one confident in the room. They are the one in charge. I want you to feel like you're that scared little girl, but you're also smart. You're sitting there going, they don't want me to be confident. They want me to feel like crap. Well, I don't have to do that. So you're going to take your left hand, your first position, nice and deep. So L1D. And you're going to sit there and you're going to feel how, what does it feel like that I can't be confident? I can't be confident. I know what confidence is. I just had it. But I can't be confident around those, wherever they are, around that signature, around those moments. I can't. Why? Then as you're holding that, what you're going to start noticing is that they kind of took your power. The moment that you believe that they're right and you're wrong, they got your power. You're not to be fed on anymore. So even if you never see those people again, you kind of have a feeling that you know you're not confident around those people. Because the moment you show any confidence, what happens? You gotta shut that shit down. So you're going to start doing a lot of L1D. It's not even about your heart being crushed, because that's the after effect after they already got this part. But I want you to notice how you got to figure out what they are. And it's like the moment you start to show confidence. You understand what I'm saying? Because you are woke up as a soul and you're like, I'm seeing this completely different than I'm used to. Does this make sense? Okay. All righty. Okay, are doing, oops. I don't know if you guys saw that pencil fly, but anyways, we're doing good. Oh, let's look around and let's see what anybody else has said. Let's look at all this. Yes, very good, very good. I'm gonna get to the right screen because, good Lord, I'm on the wrong page. How? Can't tell you how. I did. These windows pop up. She goes, "Oh yeah." She says, "Oh yeah." Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the shares, and thank you for helping me get my YouTube page up and running and helping many more people down the road. Make a comment, thumbs up. It helps the channel to grow. Okay, now we're gonna go over, and I'm gonna get. I gotta find if she's ready. Are you ready now? Can you do Ayme? Not sure what screen she's on. She's here, one of these screens. I think it's this one. Yep. Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Oh, that ain't gonna help. That's not gonna help either. Okay. Got it. And yeah, there we go. She must have had a busy morning. She hasn't really talked to me. I bet a busy morning too. Yeah, it's like over, I think, well, it says it's 37 here. So you double that and add 30. But house isn't too bad. We got a double brick house, and we have an air conditioner in the one room, and we've kind of funneled it here. So he's probably out there sweating. But yeah, it's a hot one, and I love it. Opened up the curtain this morning, and there's just this yellow tint from the sun, and it's just so gorgeous. Did it go through? Maybe it didn't. She's answering. Might be a problem. Okay. No problem. We'll see what happens. Might have to give her some more information. Who knows? Thank you. Love you, Brenda. I love the both of you. Yes. Lots of healing going to come from this. Yes. And I hold space for the both of you, including Jen. So all three of you. You guys got this. Julie is not just a cheerleader, man. I'll tell you that she wants to come through. I had to hold her back a little bit. You are welcome, Vicky. But yeah, I had to hold her back a little bit. But she's like, I forgot how funny she is. You got to use your phone. I figured that. Yeah. Okay, no problem. As long as we're communicating, we got it. What did you learn today? What were your gem pops? You do not have to be suffering. Suffering is just an option. And I have been in many situations where I have been suffering, but because I healed, changed the electromagnetic part of my brain, I changed the energy field. I no longer have to suffer. I can download the joy flows. I can thank you, spirit, and get answers. And I can see the quantum field. I get more choices. And I love every part of it. Because I don't have to. I have taught myself, which I'm so proud of. I didn't even think about it. It was like, but then it's like it's all happening, everybody around me. I remember Ayme could tell you the first time when I started using Source Point, and besides me and my husband, and I thought she was kidding me. Oh, I got a headache. And I thought she was kidding me. Hi, hon, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? I have to restart the computer. That's why it wouldn't it like did not send
Okay,
the link
that's fine.
wasn't sent to the computer.
All right, well, we're here. We're here. All good. So, just so people catch up, she had just an regular life. Everything was going great. All her needs were met. You know, shelter, food, home,
Mhm.
relationships. It was great, and life was good. And then I come along and says, "Oh, your life is hell." Oh, it's not. And then I'm like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to burst any bubbles." And then we started working on emotions, on the physical, and the mental, and emotional, and now she's on a path switch. You literally can feel this path switch now.
Oh yeah,
It would have
absolutely.
scared the crap out of you 5 years ago,
Yeah, it would have.
but
I
but
yeah.
you were on one. It was just very slow, like like when you're at the airport,
Hmm.
like thing, and it goes slow. Okay, that's what you were. But now it's speeding up because now you're spiritually more in charge of your world, and so
Hmm.
you don't have to wait for bitch slaps because the whispers are coming.
Yeah.
And you want joy. You had a goal. You had a goal. Your GPS is set to,
Hmm.
like joy, happiness, or what? What did you have it set to?
Such a joy. Yeah, absolutely.
And you didn't, so it's set to joy. So stuff are going to come up, and you're like, ah. And you started saying, why am I crying? What is this shit show? I says, oh, well, you're done having that as your personality. We got to transform this out. We got to get the love. We got to put that spirit. We got to get that
Hmm.
energy back. And so you dedicated yourself, and then you raised your little hand when I said, I'm looking for somebody that would like to volunteer to be vulnerable. I will be
Yep.
gentle. I will be
Hmm.
discreet. I will do everything I can, but I want to help you use tools so that you can see that you can evolve your own world. Okay.
Hmm.
Yes, I will guide you in certain parts. And we've been doing this journey for about 6, 7 years.
6 years, almost to the day.
Oh, cool. Yeah. February is a very important month. If you really think about it, um, uh, February 4th is when I left in 2014, United States, and I landed here on February 6th, 2014. And it's been that many years now, and I don't regret any of it. So you are now the faster pace because people are like, well, why you go so fast? When you get here, you're not going fast. It actually
No.
feels slow,
Yeah.
but to others, you're like on the bullet train.
Hmm.
Okay. The path switch makes sense to you, but it's going to disrupt and make other people feel really weird because your life is not showing up the way they used to. Does
Yeah. It
that make sense?
before it would have freaked me out. And every time you had a pass switch
Yes.
or it it
Reset.
did a reset, it freaked me out.
Yes.
I
Well, just so we stop there, a reset pass switch. Pass switch can be little major things or just a reset where you're at and resetting on the path that you are. And I know I have a higher path that says, and hers is too. So you're moving into your purpose every single day. And every time I had changed that part of the frequency, she could not feel or understand what had happened. This is what people are going to do around her.
Mhm.
And but then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, there you are. And I'm, yeah, I'm going anywhere. I'm just doing my thing in my
No,
corner.
you didn't. And that's the cool thing.
Okay.
I'm doing my best to get back onto the computer.
Ah, I see. I see. So while you do that, any questions so far? Because you guys are all on this journey with us. This is why Tribal has been born. Spirit has a higher purpose for all of us. And if I can do it, somebody else can do it. And then when Spirit said, hey, we want to bring in, hey, there you did it. In,
I did it. Yay.
Great. She did great. So now, again, I replicated it, but she did the work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
Were there times where you would get stuck in programs and you'd be in hell?
Oh, absolutely.
But you stuck with it. Your programs
Mm-hmm.
kept telling you about this, but then you started to come right as far as the soul's urge. And you started to go in those shit shows and you would learn to miss yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I do miss myself when I go into a shit show.
And that helps you find a turnaround time. What do those mean? People say miss yourself, turnaround time. What did you learn about those?
So a turnaround time is from the time you go into the shit show until you get out of that shit show. And what was the other question?
How do you miss yourself?
How do I miss myself? It's like I
You're
don't like
not you.
being happy. I don't like being
Unhappy.
unhappy.
No. You know that you're less than love, and you're like, wait a minute, that's a program. That's not me. I'm love. I know what love is. I know what calmness is. I know what a cup of peace is. And I miss that part. And I want to be my true self. It's not the
Yeah.
false self. It's my true self.
Mm-hmm.
And you learn that you can use tools. I mean, you didn't really believe that you were doing anything when you would EFT or hold the points and this and that. And then you're like, I'm not sure how this works. But now you got these tools in your toolbox and you're like, I don't want to live without those. They're mine.
It's like those are my tools. I'll share, but you can't have mine.
Exactly. And that's what now you're sharing and
Mm-hmm.
you're doing it. And your path switch has landed you and it asks, because you says, hey, I want to have a different future. I have a different purpose. I want to get more in my purpose. I want to become more of a spiritual healer, whatever, leader, whatever I'm supposed to be. I don't know. And I'm not afraid. I
Mm-hmm.
am just being led. Thank you, Spirit. And you're like, okay, so your path switch is like, I'm going to travel. You're like, I don't have the money. I don't have the way. I said, shut up. Just say thank you, Spirit. And
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden you did. And then you were able to do that 2 week trip. And you're like,
Yep.
it was awesome. Now Spirit says you got a bigger adventure to come up. And you're like, Spirit goes, just say thank you. And you're like, okay, thank you, Spirit. And now all of a
Thank you,
sudden,
Spirit.
Spirit has said, we're going to have you do this path. You may not make any sense to you at the time, but we're going to have you do this thing. We're going to have you do this thing. And now you're starting to get the rhythm of how your soul is listening
Mm-hmm.
on a higher plane of existence.
Yeah.
So you
So
landed the cushy job, which means she's loving, caring for someone that needs help. And she got to bring her kitties with her. So she's not in her own house. If you haven't noticed, the elephant's not in
yeah.
the room.
Yeah. There's no elephant in the room.
But you
But
are feeling appreciated too. You've been in jobs where you were never appreciated.
oh yeah. Yesterday the sun lives right across the street. I mean, literally out that window about
So
800 yards.
family is near. Family is near. That's good.
The two daughters, one lives 10 miles that way, one lives like 10 miles the other way.
And they love their mom, which is awesome.
And they love their mom, which it is. They all three of them were here yesterday and hung up the TV, but then that bracket wasn't right. It was like the TV would end up falling.
Ooh.
So the youngest daughter lost her son. I'm not sure how long ago, but that was his TV from his bedroom.
Oh, okay.
They brought that down for me and they hung it and I went to Walmart and got stuff that I needed. because all of the spices here at least 5 years old.
Okay, so now, I mean, and the thing is that this woman's eating because she has a companion. This woman is because the meals are prepared. And one of the things that you've learned with your health is that processed foods are not supporting. So you want to get rid of the processed foods, and you're preparing that with love. And so she's sitting down eating with you.
Yeah, I made beef stew tonight. Actually,
Good.
this morning, and we had that for supper, and we'll have that again tomorrow night for supper. She's still getting Meals on Wheels, but they're prepared at like a restaurant type thing.
Oh, nice.
And so we'll start tapering off once we get a good rhythm going.
Yeah. And the thing is you don't really miss your home because you're able to bring most of your home with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is preparing you for your future thing that you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I mean the cat, they're hiding.
Yeah. So as we get into this, you paid to come on. And so as I'm looking at this, what is it so they said, ask her, life is good. Why did you pay to come on? What do you want? What do you need? How can I serve?
It's like I'm still like struggling to find my place here. Like
okay. Now, you understand what she's like. She's like, I can tell that I don't quite, it's not my normal. And my brain knows this. And even though they've offered to give me this space, this, that, and the other, and it's great, but I still don't feel like I belong or I settled or I'm here. And this is what happens with the brain. It's the environment. It took me 2 years to realize that this is awesome. And see, this is what you're going to be expecting when you start to do your major path switch. So you're getting a taste of what you need to address. Okay. So she used the word struggling because that's the only best way that she could describe what. So we're going to look at what this struggling means to her on a spirit sense. Okay. So what does struggle mean to you?
It's like finding my way in the dark is what the best way that I can describe it.
So when you struggle, so we may have to see if we can get her, is this actually the right word? So struggle is to make forceful or violent effort to get free of, okay, a struggle to find a way. You're wrestling around. Is it that complicated? Is it a fight? Is it a?
No,
Is it
it's not
really
a
the
fight.
word you want?
It's like finding my footing. It's
Okay.
it's like I'm out walking on the ice and I can't find my footing.
Right. Now, so you're not blind. You're able to see that you can find a footing. So this is a program that's saying this is real to you. If I said what age, oh, can you guess what age?
Either 7 or 21 or
3-week-year-old self, you couldn't find your footing because you have no home. There's no mom, there's no dad.
that makes sense.
So at 3 weeks, where would you have been?
Foster care.
Foster care.
Foster family.
But I think you knew that was not your home. Okay. So your 3-week-old is communicating through you as your 53-year-old self. Did I get the right age?
Yes, you did.
And it's telling you. Now, her 53-year-old self, her spirit self, her soul is going, oh, I can hear my little. I'm hearing a program. I'm hearing my littles. And the 3-week-year-old self, you wouldn't have the cognitive ability, but the 3-week-year-old felt, and it's marked, it's fully marked in the brain from what I can see. And it says that I don't know. I have to chase something down. I have to, that this is not it. So you have this feeling of chase that you got to go after, you got to go find, you got to go do, right? And you're looking for that footing. You're looking for that place you fit. You're looking for it. Because so far, the only place you fit is where somebody is lofty.
Mm-hmm.
Uniquely,
They haven't been.
no, I was just going to say that.
They haven't
It's
been
not
there.
familiar to you because you have been accommodated. They're showing you great love.
Yeah.
And you're like, why aren't you not realizing? You're saying, well, why aren't you treating me like lofty, being in charge? What is this? What is this? This is not my normal. So it's
Yeah.
not, she doesn't know how to fit in. She knows how to be a caretaker. She knows how to do all these things very lovingly. And yet her child part of her is having a problem with, why aren't they showing up how I memorized it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the struggle in this case is forcing herself out of that program because it does feel like it's a constraint. So now, if you were to measure that struggle, and we are going to use that word, what number is it?
I'm going to say 8.
Now, I want you to hold L3S, and I want you to, as you hold L3S, I want you to notice the little had to figure out reality. So it had to build a reality based on the people that were in that foster home. So I says, in that foster home, did you feel the lofty? What you actually felt was there was a condition of lofty. Okay, that's what you knew. Now you're not in that. This is not my normal. I'm supposed to have resistance. I'm supposed to have, you're not supposed to have with great sneeze.
No. No.
So really feel that struggle, that 8. Now she's just going to sit there. Now I'm going to have her do her thing. And she's going to be in the emotion. She's not going to do, oh, it's because of this, this, and this, because that is saying, I want to keep my health. She wants to resolve how she knows that feeling, how she knows that the only word she could really use was the struggle. But it wasn't her adult self. It was her little that says, I'm struggling because I feel this restraint. But it's not in my life right now. So now that feels awkward. Hi there, Autumn. How are you? Wow, you used a healing tool, Thor. Excellent. Good job. Good job. Now, as I hold space with her, I'm also doing a show. She's aware of that. We've done a lot of things here. So she knows that she's in over there. I'm holding space and I'm communicating with you guys. Now, if there's anybody in the room that is interested, I can give you a free reading if I haven't given you one before. Okay, maybe a healing tool with it. Who knows? Who knows? But then you can always go to YouTube and re-listen to it again.
I just heard, why can't I see myself?
Okay, now interesting enough, did you hear that? Amy's not going in that space. She's able to be her soul, looking back, and she's hearing, why can't I be myself? Now feel that feeling, I can't be myself. It's very strong. And I said, yeah, in this case, now I'm looking at how your 5-month-old self. Again, it's supposed to be lofty. And you're like, with lofty, I can't be myself. And she apparently knew the difference between who I am and who I'm not. And so she can see love or conditioned. Conditioned made her say, I can't be myself. Even if she doesn't understand who herself is. Because again, we came here as love to find out what love's not. Oh, somebody said they want to do a live reading. I got to find out who that is. Ah, Nita. Wonderful. I'll put Nita. Nita will be next. Let's see if I can hang on to it in the hand. And then Autumn wants a chat. Oh, notice you have no voice. Notice how the lofty makes it the physical body disempowered.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's a shift there. So what I'm going to have you measure it again.
3.
Now that means the charge that was an 8 with all the talk and all of this is now dissolved down. Chemical peptides are dissolving down. But she's like, I still there. It's not that she knows it and it's there. It has a charge and it's there. So which means I'm going to have her go to L2S and notice that she has to reject love out of her reality. Anything that comes good to her. Now I'm going back to when the poster and your dad and the priest. So it is in that stage that this is my reality, and all of a sudden chaos on the outside, and so you're supposed to reject your joy. Because for you, you were like, again, saying that cuteness of who you are is not appropriate. Ooh, ooh. The decisions, my teeth just felt like they hurt. So it's like the decisions, you made a very hard decision. And decisions was that I'm incompatible. My relationships is that I'm supposed to always be incompatible so they're happy. So this is part of that creating the false reality. Her little believed this belief. So you're supposed to reject anything good out of your reality. So you're in a beautiful spot right now. And I mean, by a lake, everything, and you're supposed to reject it. That's the struggle, is the littlest is I'm not supposed to accept this.
Mm-hmm. That makes so much sense.
Because just the moment that you start accepting spirit and love in your space, your little is saying, yeah, but there's this future thing that something bad's going to happen. So feel like, nope, can't accept this, can't accept this. Here, the shoe's going to drop.
It's all going to get ripped away.
Now, is that a different number?
That's a 7.
It's a 7. Okay.
Ripped away is a 7.
All right. Notice how the little has put this together, thinking it's just going to be ripped away. Because now feel how the little would think that love is being ripped away. Even the strictness is going to be ripped away. Have that feeling of how the separation is. Ooh, down to my toes. It's like you physically have had this right down to your toes.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. Again, putting yourself on the back burner. You don't want this to happen. It's lofty. No.
That's where the anticipation is coming from.
Okay, you found it.
Because she is 95, she has lung cancer, all of these things, and it's like 53-year-old me is holding space that she's going to live to be 100, 103 to outlive her mom. And today there was all of this doubt that crept in, and I'm like, where is this coming from?
Oh, it's how you also know people die.
Yeah.
Like I've held good space with my mom and my dad, and they still passed.
Mm-hmm.
This is just very much the little that's sitting there going, this is how I knew my world. Because I wanted that foster mom. Something shifted. You said the word anticipation, or what did you say? That ancient, what did you say that was?
The anticipation.
What number is that now?
3. It was an 8. or a 7, it went down to a 3.
So notice your reaction. Get into the reaction. Something happened. You're in the reaction. You're in the the gall, the shock. Is it true you have to be that?
Uh-oh.
Again, it's a form of I have to reject this out of my reality because I deemed it as scary. The experience is unhealthy. All right, so what number is it? So what I'm seeing is that we have to give you a golden white light cord because you're supposed to experience something with the environment.
Okay.
It's not it has to be bad. It's just that,
Oh.
like, for instance, I feel like you're gonna go little self, oh my God, lofty. And then boom, 53-year-old self.
Oh, I know what this is going to end up being. I'm going to see my brother on Tuesday for the first time in over a year and a half.
Oh,
And my mother is here.
yes. Oh yeah, yeah. She's like, oh, I can't touch that lipstick, but I got close. Right. And it's false deficiency.
Mm-hmm.
And your little is saying, but I got to be the little girl that he expects.
Yeah.
That's
No,
it.
I don't.
Right. Right. So you're gonna they said L2D because you don't have to in that relationship field, you don't have to live that lie. Okay. So
right.
you will start to the two auras will cross. There is a lie that you're supposed to live up to, but that's where you're supposed to discover the lie.
Mm-hmm.
And you may have to show up as the expected, but then again, it's like, no, I can take my power back. So this will be a very interesting thing that you're going to be unfolding, but with grace and ease, and I'm holding space for you. And I know you got this.
I do got this. And my chair just slid down.
Your what slid down?
Here, it's like
the chair. Oh, you don't need to shrink down and be small anymore, young lady.
No, I don't.
You've got this. He's going to see a whole different you.
Mm-hmm.
Size, appearance, attitude. Instead of being that oh, you're going to have a personality too. They're going to pop out and you're going to see significantly the little girl.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to stand back as your third self going, now I understand what she wants. I have to be this because this is, it's part of that collective that you are supposed to get approval.
Mm-hmm.
This will be fun. This will be interesting, but that's part of the lie. So you know the answer is L2D.
L2D, yep.
All right. Good job. Thank you. I love you.
I love you.
And we'll talk to you later, okay? And we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
All right. Bye, hon.
Bye.
All righty. I'm going to quickly go over to Autumn because it's just a short one. And then I'm going to go over and give Nita the link. So Autumn, are you here? Autumn, are you here? I want to make sure that she's here. And then I got to make sure I find Nita. There she is. Oh, that's so funny. I pulled up Nita and my sister just popped up. She's passed. So she's definitely strongly here. And I'm not sure why, but we will find out why. So Autumn, are you here? So again, the delay is sometimes long. That's okay. No big deal. Let's see. I don't think she said anything but I'll read it and see if she said what spirit wants. Okay, this is what spirit wants. Usually I like people present, but timestamps. Remember the timestamps is based on the time behind my clock. And that's what you go by. That's what we're looking for. So hopefully it's been always clear. So Autumn and there's a compulsion that you want to do without you knowing. And this is based on how somebody has manipulated you, gaslit you. And there's some key words that you're supposed to pay attention to as trigger words. And you're going to go, but do I need to follow it? You're starting to see an old pattern that looks so familiar that, you know, like this is what I grew up with. It may not be healthy, but that's what I love. That's what I attract in. And once you start to see the pattern, then you can do left wrist, third position deep, L3D, because you're going to go, why did I have love on that pattern? Okay, you're going to look at that pattern. You're going to hear yourself, your adult self going, ew. But then you're going to hear your little self going, that's how I know them and I love them for it. And you got to heal the love onto that. Does that make sense? Because the heart is saying, that's how I post it. So love is unreceived. This is the way we're supposed to communicate. This is how I know them. This is how I know what love is. This is how I know I'm with my clan, is if they treat me this way. But there's a part of you that fell in love with, because that was the basis that was there. You're ready to grow out of it from what I can hear, hon. Okay. Because what I hear further is that there will be this, you with them. The people that took care of you were fanatical, and look up the word fanatical. And it would be so that, is that the characteristic that this person, that the people that are in your space, I believe so. Let me quickly look at the word I want, and let's break it down for you. Filled with a single-minded zeal. Is there religion involved? Is there politics involved? And they are super focused. They are dog determined. They are an extreme, you understand. Okay, so notice how that energy, how is it coming at you? Is it like a steamroller? Is it like a punching, how is this that it's got to get into your head that they're right and any other way you think is wrong? Now, this fanatical aspect, and again, they said that this is part of the personality that you thought was, because it's familiar, it's what you know as a kid, and you're supposed to love that, L1D, okay? So you're ready to raise a little higher about what love is, which is awesome. So Nita, I sent you the link. And Autumn, happy healing, babe. You're ready to start waking up deeper, which I'm very proud of. That's good. Excellent. So Nita, it has been sent. So hopefully when she's ready, she'll be able to come aboard. She is a mother. So, you know, we know that sometimes that people have to do certain things. Where are we at? I'm just looking around to make sure. So she has seen the link. So give it a moment or two and she'll be here. Autumn, this is important because you are at a stage now that when you understand what's familiar, so your attraction factor of what's familiar is not something that you have to be in love with anymore. You can take the love off of it and see it as something of what it really is and realize it's okay. That you don't have to, limit yourself, condemn yourself, change yourself to receive this love, because your spirit, your love, your yin, your soul is fitting into this body, and yet it's saying, I don't have to be in constraints anymore. Does that make sense? That's good. That's good. So the attraction factor is going to change. So once she starts healing what love is, love equals conditioning, love equals this abuse, when she breaks up that relationship of that connection, it's going to help her littles to change. It's also going to take her into a new avenue of attracting in a very higher frequency that's more supportive, so she doesn't have to suffer, so she can start to change. Which is good, which is excellent. Mhm. Which is excellent. All righty. I have to say, I'm surprised. Steamroller and overpowered. Yes. So you can measure that. You can feel how fast it's coming in. You can do all these things. So I'm going to take a quick little break. Look, it's already 42. Man, that thing, remember, double it and add 30. Whew, it's a hot one out there today. So thank goodness Spirit has made it so I don't have to suffer. But I'll be right back. Right back. Some gotta shut that door because heat was coming in. I don't know what popped it open, but yeah, I had little things on there. But I didn't like the way that looked. Oh, here she comes. Oh, there she is. Excellent. Hi.
Hi. Yeah, spirit
Long
just
time no see.
spirit just trying to make it a journey for me to, always get to my next step.
Yes,
You
yes,
know
yes.
my soul, it beats to its own drum.
But you are getting better and stronger, even though sometimes it feels
I
like you're not.
am.
You know how far you've come. And baby, you have
Oh,
come a long way. So good job. Good job.
I have. I have. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's still a few things where
Oh,
spirit is
absolutely.
making me bite my tongue, and I will take it because with it, I'm still learning lessons. So it's not a complete like
Yeah. And it's all
shit
stages.
show.
Yeah, exactly. It's all stages. And every time you get that perspective and every time you heal out, you get more wisdom. And you change that perspective so that kaleidoscope, you start to fill it in. And when you finally reach that stage, all of a sudden you're going to say, wow, I'm glad I went and did that route. Instead of staying in that, you get less, like you said, of those shit shows. How can I help?
Just basically what the universe and spirit wants me to know more, a progress report, I guess you could say.
Okay. So immediately Spirit is saying, okay, habits, habits, habits. Habits are so easy to do. They're so familiar. They're just like, I'm just going to do it. They're going to come to you and they're all of a sudden go, and you're going to go, what? My habits are invading my space?
Yeah,
No.
that's already
What is?
happening, especially with the anger, hence the whole voice thing.
Okay.
Because spirit is trying to show me like you can still get your message across without the machismo of your ways.
Yes. So now this means you got to stand back and you say, thank you, Spirit, with grace and ease, that you get to see how your parents did it. And now you get to be able to pop in and go, but I don't want to do that anymore. You're going to hear
Yes.
on a greater level of how your soul is going, yeah, no, we're going to find a new way of doing it. Okay.
Yeah.
So as that happens, Spirit is having me like looking really, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just looking at the bigger picture, but my eyes are like doing its best to take it all in. They said, I did not realize how people build false realities, but now I'm really seeing how the talk and the thinking, they build these false realities. And as I'm talking and I'm standing here and I'm listening to them, I'm just like, what? But then you have
Yes.
respect and you're totally understanding it because you're like, I did that. I've been there. Oh, well, shit, I still do it there. But at the same time, how can I be in a, I feel like you're being in a mother stance. How can I be in an effective mother when they're
Yes.
holding those belief systems? And I feel, okay, so I don't know how to explain this. They have a certain way of thinking, and you
Mm-hmm.
realize the polarity in America is like,
Yes.
and so your thinking is here and their thinking is there, and you would like to pound at their head, wake up. But at the same time, you also respect. And
Yes.
it's like, okay, so how do I discreetly say this? In my life, Spirit told me that I was going to have somebody in my space that's going to be more left brain than right. And that my heart is going to have to respect the fact that it was their travels.
Yes.
And that I'm going to have to respect what they're doing so they can learn all the bumps and bruises along the road. But they, in their mind, have no bumps and bruises. It's me that's getting the bumps and bruises. So I had to learn to take my hands off and just say, how can I help? And then they're like, pfft. So I feel like you're getting, pfft, but you're watching, and it's like, you know how destructive certain thought patterns are.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm supposed to be the mother. This is where you got to employ spirit a little bit more and say, okay, I have to accept that maybe they're going down that other road that I wouldn't take. And it's to do with the brain pattern. It has to
Yeah.
do
Well,
with,
it's not even so much that I wouldn't take, it's that I've lived it. I can now see how when I got married, and I'm not blaming him.
oh,
It's
no, no,
part of
no.
my story. It's part of what I have to do to continue on the journey of breaking the cycles as much as I can in this
Yes.
now.
Yes. Okay. So now
So
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Oh, like every day I wake up and I just know like I'm growing.
Mm.
I'm seeing things, I'm feeling things, and every day I will say this, every day I wake up and I see the grid. That's the first thing
Oh,
spirit shows me. I see the grid and it literally looks like graph paper, but it's kind of like a reminder of stay in discernment because you're in the grid.
yes. Yes. Yeah. I love that. I love that spirit has told you, you got a choice when you first wake up.
Mm-hmm.
So you are doing two things. One, you're massively going to be influenced by the collective to
Big time.
go back to sleep, but you know you're not
Betty has
supposed to.
been to the surface. That's my ego. Betty, oh my
Mm-hmm.
God. She was out to play the other day. Ah, I'm taking the lessons of what was needed. I seen the mirrors.
Okay.
I just had to tell Betty, please stop taking great pleasure in getting blocked and deleted because you are speaking truth. You are speaking truth, yes, but they don't understand it yet.
Right.
So
Right.
back off.
Yes. So I said, is there anything we need to do that? Okay. So the inner vibration, this particular personality is saying, I hate when I'm deficient. Now she's got this neck thing she wants to do. There's this, but she takes great pleasure because this is how you had to survive. Now, how do we
Yeah.
help this personality that helped you be you and create the world that you have? But you also know that you're ready to rise. It's not about destroying that personality. It's about helping to heal her to evolve.
Yes.
Okay.
And the funny part is they understand that. Ego
Ooh,
understands that. We're getting, I can feel like that duality coming, but it was
excellent.
kind of like, let me just get it out. Like, okay, fine.
Right. And
But
you
it
were supposed to feel that feeling of great joy hidden in that negativity. Does that make sense?
yes.
Okay. Now there's nothing
And
wrong
look
with
at
it.
the smile on my face. Like Betty is
Right.
still like
All right.
so
So yeah, and I asked Spirit, is she ready? Yes. But it's how she's reacted to the she says, I will be great pleasure of processing and giving my wisdom so we can rise. But that outside energy. Now she's saying, she says, it resonates with me in my story of my familiarity. This is who I am.
that's how I grew up.
Correct. And so you have to start doing L2D because that's the lie. It's not who you are now. That's how the consciousness was then. But on a soul level, you're supposed to bring in new levels of consciousness. I don't know if you've heard about in the Bible, they talk about wandering in the desert for 40 years. And the whole story is that old consciousness dies off so new consciousness can start a new way of living.
Yes.
This is where you're at. So notice that your first thing you're going to do as you're holding this, again, the lie, but I want you to feel how this was, how I coped. This is how I survived. And I'll feel that mighty feeling inside of you.
Yeah, and it's funny because aside from this, because it's a very like sadistic. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. It's
No,
just funny.
no,
She
that
just
you're feeling it.
it's
Good.
yeah, it's funny. It's funny how they're just like smell the bullshit. Me neither, even though they clearly do. You know?
Yeah,
Heck
yeah.
yeah.
Right,
Come
right.
on.
But notice that we've had to, in order to have love, we had to hide it. We've had to experience it. If it's going to be fleeting, you may as well start to, but that is just how we experience what love could be. But it's not the
Yeah.
truth. But
Yeah,
it's,
and I already know it's, even though it feels like sadistic and stuff, very
Mhm.
energies. The apathy is there.
Yeah. But look, even though you have lack of interest in that, but notice helplessness. You are not going to win one over on me. You are not going to do this to
Mm,
me. You
yes.
are. Okay. But notice that you had one too many laughed at and too many of those things that you're like, yeah, it ain't gonna happen again. So you got to be in that stage of I'm not gonna be helpless.
Yeah, I'm gonna make you helpless.
Exactly.
Like, oh my God, I said some mean things. Funny, mean things.
So your humor came out in there too.
It did.
Now again, you're just going to transform this to be different. You still can have these happy, funny things as well as but you can transform into a different being. But feel how you are not going to say I'm small, I'm helpless. Mm-mm.
Yes, Spirit really wanted me to be aware of the cognitive dissonance of the
Mm.
whole experience. Like doing everything, like knowing it's wrong, but I'm still laughing and like, hey. And
But feel the joy.
also understanding the boundary. The boundary I'm breaking, mainly with myself, with the lack of respect.
Mhm. But notice that cope, that joy is that cope.
That
You didn't
joy.
know how. Okay. Bad
Yeah.
spirit, bad experience. How do you pacify and cope? Well, you found a way, but that's not who you want to be anymore. So we have to help transform her to know that she doesn't have to use this as a coping tool.
Right. And I know, Spirit knows, my whole essence knows there's still a way to get the message through the love and compassion and understanding without inheriting the karma, but
Okay,
with
now
just,
go now go back because we want to solve it. So go back. I'm glad you figured
okay.
it out. Go back. But she's like, I'm not. I don't have to heal this. I'm going to give out these reasons. No, no, no. Say no. I'm in charge. We're going to give you a place.
She's laughing. Okay, she says thank you. Betty says thank you. We almost got away.
Yeah, we want the wisdom. We want the wisdom. And she's going to be much more powerful when she gets the wisdom because then she's the one that says, see this boundary? You can cross it.
Ooh.
Right now, she's in enemy territory. Right now, she's in the thick of that. But if we can help heal this personality, she can take the wisdom and stand in a whole different perspective.
Yeah, and break the cycle that's going on right now because in second grade, I went through a whole ordeal with my teacher, and in a nutshell, I basically said F you. I don't respect you.
Mm-hmm.
And my firstborn went through a similar situation.
Oh.
And now my third, ooh, I don't have a third child. Spiritually, maybe. But my second born is second grade going through the same thing. And I'm going back and forth with the teacher, basically in
Okay.
a nutshell. Yeah.
Okay. Go down to
Um,
R2S. Go down to R2S right now. And I want you to feel what about me?
yes, this is where I know why I did it as a child. So I know I'm on to breaking.
But notice there's an enemy. What about me? Notice there's somebody that's not in that alignment. Notice that you have to see them. Who were they? Were they your mom and dad? Were your aunt
It
and
was
uncle?
my dad. And my dad displayed that at home, even through like adulthood,
Mm-hmm.
when my mom would try to be the parent. And my
Mhm.
dad would be like, what about me? Like, bro, you're a grown adult.
Right. Now feel how that they have all the energy. Feel how you feel victimless and helpless. And what about me? There's a victim in there. Feel how they are pimping you, trying to give you your instructions, and you're like, what?
Mm, okay.
Feel the victim. Hear the victim's voice.
She's so small.
Feel like I have to take it. I am irrelevant. I don't matter. And the smaller I am, the more it's irrelevant. I'm irrelevant. I don't matter. Feel the victim. See the victim. Notice the victim thoughts. They have to receive this.
The shh.
And the little voice says, what about me? And starts to fight back. But if you can say, wait a minute, why do I have to be the victim? Now you're looking at it. Now, what's interesting is Buddy goes, shit, you mean even though I'm victorious, I'm the victim? She goes, are you shitting me? I can hear her just going, oh my gosh, my spunk is because I'm a victim?
Yeah.
What?
Right
And
now
now I'm
she's
trying to
she's
pimp
doing
others.
a whole lot of mother, father, son of a biscuits.
Yes. Yeah, all those biscuits, man. Because she's like, shoot, I'm trying to pimp somebody and somebody pimp me. This all boils down to that I believe. No. Well, there's an
Yo,
existential crisis right there. But it's also, oh, I don't have to do this. I do not have to be these archetype of that victim. I'm taking my power back because you got a lot of red energy coming and going, that's mine. You can't have that anymore.
mm,
All I was hearing is be please.
yeah, she's like, stop calling me out.
You're done. You're done being the victim. You're done. She's like,
I'm done being a victim to everything. And this is even on a collective because, like I said, I drum to the beat of my own drum. Well, of course, ego makes us think that. Um, but there's a lot of stuff that's still coming from like my past lives, even my genealogy. If everything is true with what my family is saying, there's a lot of stuff, Brenda, that has to be transmuted.
yeah, yeah. And it's okay. It's okay. You got this. You got this. Because see, you moved in the situation where you have to run, but then you're running from, and now you're running from, but you're still fighting. So your energy is still in the stress state.
Yes, and it all stems to my Native American past.
Yeah. But again, we had to be victim in order for consciousness to show itself in that what we chose. Does that make sense?
It does. And I feel like my biggest challenge is not only the part of playing the victim, but also being part of the whole reasoning of the colonizing.
Right,
My
right.
lineage stems from both being the suppressor and then being
Yeah.
desuppressed.
But the thing is where's the wisdom in all this? We don't have to keep playing these levels. Taking that wisdom is
Ooh,
turning back to love. It's not about conquering. It's not about, okay, we have to do how we did it before. It's not about taking territory or the apex predator.
yeah.
We don't have to play the apex predator. Somebody doesn't have to be the apex predator. We don't have to fall. We're moving so far. We're doing well, but it is under that archetype of the victim and the pimp in the hoe.
Okay.
Okay, but we're
Yes.
moving from that, and when we start to really pull out the fact is we don't have to be the victim, nor do we have to manipulate others. Then your soul is going to be more in charge. And then you're going to pull from the collective, and the collective is going to start to fall. So you are doing a major part of saying, I'm creating a new world.
Yes. Thank you for opening the door.
Now, interesting enough, notice how Betty sits there saying, I have my power. I don't have to keep playing this game. I don't have to. And feel how much stronger she is. Not in the sense that she has to attack and pimp somebody else and make somebody else a hoe and victim this and that. It's like, no, we can start creating a new world.
We are creating a new world. I feel that. It's like you said, the whole pimp hole.
And that's what you're going to be breaking out of. And every time that you start to begin to notice the pattern, you can disrupt it by going and holding L2D. So where are you right now? What number?
Right now, I'd say it's a very hardcore 5.
Okay, so get a golden white light connected and the other end, extend it out. With this hardcore 5, you're going to start doing L2D, because the more you start to break up with that lie that you have to do that archetypes, okay, you then will move into L1D, because you do not have to be vulnerable. You do not have to cope with this coping tool of being this. Again, this falls into the archetypes. I don't have to take those. Because the more that you heal this, the more you move out of that there is an enemy.
Yes.
Because you are ready to bring more yin in, meaning you are physical form. Yang is what you are, right? This physical form. Okay. But in order to play life, you have to have yin, a spirit, so that you can be in this organic suit. And sometimes we just feel like we can't get this energy to come in and do this balance. But you are. The more you're able to bring that in, the more you start to be your higher self, the more you can already start creating a new world. So when this is happening, you can do this, and all of a sudden it changes. That's going to decide if it wants to come with you. But you won't even notice sometimes that it'll zig while you zag, and you're creating something better. I have watched head-to-head fights, and when I go and I heal, it changes everything. That person changes their tune. And I'm holding space of love, and they'll come with me or they'll go away. Because you're done playing with that attitude.
Yeah, and spirit has definitely been showing it in my job too, like with these members that try to get irate, and I'm just like, we're going to stop right there. We're going to take a deep breath, and we're going to come back and start new. Good. Hi, how are you today? Like, I am not, there's no room for any of that. Like, spirit is like, nope, we're not going to do that, because none of us need that lesson. Like, I just can't explain everything that I feel, but I know you feel it. So you know.
You're getting there. Just remember, we're going to start breaking up with that heart that says you have to be it this way, because you're wanting to be more of the heart brain, more of the yin with that yang. The more you want it balanced, but you got to break up with this lie. Yes. We don't need them anymore. I mean, Betty is like standing behind you going, we got this. She's got a different attitude right now.
Yeah, no, I actually feel this calm that I didn't even feel in the womb.
Now you can sustain it, because see, you had to go through all of that. And we both know that we've gone through different parts of ourselves, soul-wise, and being the oppressor and the oppressed in both situations. And we don't have to get lost into the why, but it's the wisdom that makes us rise.
Yes, I like that.
And it's like, whoa, we don't have to live in the past. We can actually start fresh right here. And I know you are. And it's good to see you, my love. It really is. It really is.
I'll be in class tomorrow. It's just
wonderful.
It's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm just doing one thing at a time.
Yeah. I can see the pressure of you deciding that, I'm done with that. Being a parent is hard, but it can be easy, more with grace and ease. And I know you've got this. I know you've got this.
Yeah. Oh, and my little is enjoying it too because she's healing along with this
Yes,
where I got the lack thereof. So I mean it's not all for naught, you know?
exactly. We're in this together. We're all holding space, and
Yeah.
I love you dearly.
Thank
And we'll
you.
talk
Love
tomorrow. Okay.
you. Okay, I'll see you
All
guys
right.
tomorrow.
All
Bye.
right. Bye. Oh, that's wonderful. I haven't seen her in a while. Yeah, she comes to class sometimes, you know, but you don't, when you come to tribal, you don't have to show up. You can always just watch it later. Um, and, you know, there's just little things that you can do, but it helps you grow. So I don't know if Nikki's still here, but she's just had wrote something. She goes, oh, let's see here. Oh, wow, I'm noticing this topic. It's my grandson's 15th birthday. I moved away about 4 years ago. And there's a lot of circumstances, and my daughter in the nursing home and in the nursing home is making, oops, where'd it go? Oh crap, where'd it go? Did something in shit. And she, okay, so you did an act and it was disapproved of. Nikki, are you still here? Because I can just give you a quick uh, tool that can help you get back into alignment more with your heart. But this has been a great show, guys. This I'm going to double check to see if there's anybody else that's paid, and I think we're looking good there. If you are new, you get one more shot before I go. If you want that free reading, and I've never given you one before, this is where you will put it in. I thought they were okay. What is this? I watched another YouTube video and had it on fast forward 75%, and I was closed. You're talking fast as well. How, when you're live, that didn't make sense. Oh, and you couldn't change it back. Oh, Jesus. And the funny, I just pulled a card and it said, be silent. Wasn't sure if I was to get mad because they were trying to silence me again. And then I was little, was my little. Is that a test? Yes. How do you know the difference? Oh, well, the more you choose to be in a state of awareness, listening to your thoughts, okay? If they are negative or if they are positive. When you start working with spirit, you will start to hear the differences. And when you are experience different things, you still can stand as your third person going, oh, that was interesting. Why would that happen? So it's the way you question, it's the way you communicate, but it's the way you react. So if you can heal out how you react, you can step in as your spirit to look at, you know, why did it unfold that way? Why did it do that? And you can really start making a major difference. I thought they were lost for 40 years because the men wouldn't stop asking for direction. Oh, that was wandering in the desert. You're funny. Okay. Her humor's there. Her humor's there. You got anger issues, Davin? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes. You're going through a growth spurt. So I'm just going to say hold L2D for Davin. L2D. Now, when somebody, I've been in a situation and it's all these belief systems that are fighting. You want something you love not to die, and you can't make your point across. You know that you don't have the money, you can't do the convincing, and you have to accept this reality and you're not wanting to. And so yes, there is all of these emotions, and you know you're going to have to go through this regardless, and you don't want to. L2D. Okay, you're welcome, sweetheart. Oh, you heard spirit tell you that. It was good. Okay, yeah, you're going to hail that out. If you says we had her most of my life, yeah, and it's a big identity that is changing. So she's an animal that she loves is not healthy. So it might be older because you had her most of your life, then she's coming to the animal's coming at that end of that stage. And so it doesn't make sense to the brain because your heart's saying, wait, what? And it can be very confusing. It really can. But we had a great show today, and we'll see you in tribal. What else is there? Anything else? No, hang in there. We're doing this. We're doing this together. We are going to get to where we are going. And heal any triggers, start to really define that you don't have to be these emotions. You don't have to be your reactions. You don't have to be your knee-jerk reactions. And it's okay if you are, but if you take control and go, I am less than love, okay, you go heal, tap, whatever it is you got to do, bring yourself back, especially your brain, back to center of joy, not the center, being self-centered, but the center of space of joy. You can allow yourself to realize you're not your issues. You don't have to lose yourself into all of the traumas and dramas. You can take your power back. You can take your power back. Let's see, kind of hate that anger forces you to cry when you're not sad. But it does. It's the body takes and creates these chemical peptides. Liver has a lot to do with emotional, hormonal peptides. And helping the organ to come balanced is going to help you out a great deal, not just energetically, but you can start working on the mental and emotions. And yeah, you've gotten to the peak. And if you can measure the peak of your anger that's about ready to cry, and you hold that point, you are going to not have to keep repeating this lesson over and over, because you're at the peak. The peak is what you want. And you're going to heal yourself to get out of that peak stage. So when it comes back around for test, you're going to go, yeah, I'm not doing that. Or, ooh, I can feel a little bit more. I'm going to hold that point. But you're paying attention on a soul level. You guys are amazing. And I appreciate you week after week being dedicated for yourself to grow. Okay. To be more than where you are stuck at. You don't have to be stuck. You can be more. Just know I'm holding space for you. I love you, and that you can move forward, resolve to evolve, heal instead of deal. You can heal that. When in doubt, heal it out. And don't waste it. Paste it. Use tool. You can become something more than just a program, less than love. And I love you all. A lot of you are writing, I love you. I love you as well. We can hold this space together, and we're going to create a whole new world to step into that others may follow. Okay. Wonderful. The one thing I'm going to tell you is thank you, Robin. Thank you, Spirit. When in doubt, just say it. When you don't know anything and you're less than love, just say it. Oh man, that thing's cranking up out there. Look at that, 44. Whew. I got to get in that hot car. Thank you, Spirit. All's going to go well. I've got this. My body knows how to sweat. I got water. I've got this. I can get a spray thing if I need to. I've got this. All right. We'll see you tomorrow in Tribal or next week. However, whichever comes first or wherever you're at, just know there's more than suffering. Okay. It's snowing here. Oh, yeah. I'll take the heat. All right.